I work with Vezco, and we will be presenting our ANPR presentation relating it to access control, relating it to CCTV, I'm sorry. So just one quick second. Let me go ahead and let me share my screen with you guys. Share my screen. Perfect. All right, so let's begin the presentation. All right, so in the presentation of ANPR Solutions, we will be talking about a general aspect of what is ANPR, what are the settings that we use it in, what are the advantages of using it, what is the topology of the connectivity, what are the products we have, what are the installation requirements. This is very important, installation requirements, different than most monitoring and surveillance cameras. In order for the ANPR solution to work correctly, we're going to have to respect some angles and some positionings, as well as talk about the functions of the solution. So let's begin. As to an introduction, here we have a basic picture of a car entering through gates where we have installed ANPR camera, and this camera will then put on that information into a database. So basically describing what is automatic number plate recognition. Automatic number plate recognition allows to detect and recognize the vehicle's license plate and send ANPR information to the Smart NVR or VEZPro using the free version or the licensed version for your access management. You can search and see the image of the plate of the captured vehicle and related information according to the search conditions of the plate, including time of entry, exit, and the number of the plate. So basically what it's doing here, it's compiling all the information from all the vehicles that have entered, exited, or gone through the array of spectrum of the camera, where their license plates have been captured and sent into a database. This database can then later on be filtered and be assigned lists that we're going to talk about, such as your black lists and your white lists, that can also be integrated with your access control to allow entrance or to block entrance. We'll discuss that a little bit further on. Here, I have compiled what is the basic settings on where license plate recognition or automatically number of plate recognition is installed in. Most of the times, it's going to be in these two different scenarios, either an entrance or exit, or road traffic monitoring. For entrance or exit, is for you to determine what vehicles are entering or exiting a location, and for road traffic monitoring, it's for you to monitor what vehicles are on certain roads. Any questions so far?
No, there is no question.
All right, so let's talk here about some of the advantages of working with ANPR. So the ANPR solution englobes a total of basic 6 advantages. Number 1 is traffic management. You'll be able to manage what traffic you are receiving or going through your area. You have this to be installed in roads, tolls, bridges, and tunnels, thus again, managing the traffic inside those locations. You have more security, less vehicle robbery. Because those locations are being surveilled by license plate recognition cameras, a lot of robbers and a lot of people that are criminals are most likely to be deterred from doing something when ANPR cameras are installed. Your access control integration, you can integrate it to an access control, so whenever certain vehicles are inside certain databases, they will be able to be allowed in if they are on white lists, and they will be asked for identification or blocked if they are in a blacklist. And license plate recognition cameras also help enforce local laws. A lot of speeding, wrong way traffic, sideways traffic are prevented when we use ANPR cameras. And the best feature of all is its adaptability. You can adapt it to many settings and many conditions. If it's raining, if it's snowing, it's foggy, all of our cameras for ANPR provide a 95% reading accuracy. So these are the basic advantages of it. Going into here, what is our 4 basic types of topology? In our topology here, we're going to say how the camera or in how the system is connected. Starting from the top left to the bottom right, we're going to go from the least complicated to the more complicated. So the easiest and most basic form of connection is solely the camera to an SDK. So you have the camera connected to your network, and you view it to an internet browser. The second one is the mode where you have the camera connected to an NVR. So the camera is connected to an NVR, connected to the network. The camera does the processing, send the information to the NVR, and the NVR does the database comparison. The third type we have is when we have the camera connected with an NVR in the licensed version of VEZPro or VEZPro Unlimited. The fourth one is the one that most people would use, which is where we have our free version of VEZPro, an NVR, and an IP camera. All of this can be done through the internet. So let's take a little deeper look at our basic types of topology. Here we're talking about just the camera connected to an NVR. So when the camera is connected to the NVR, the first process it is the vehicle detection. The camera is going to detect the vehicle, automatically recognize the plate, send this vehicle information down to management, which is done at the head-end unit, which is the NVR. So here in the bottom, I've attached 3 pictures of what constitutes the 3 basic steps to ANPR using the IP camera and the NVR. There's a car entering, so the camera automatically recognizes that that's a white car. It then recognizes the plate, giving me the time of entry, the plate number, the country of the plate, and the type of vehicle that it is. Then that information is later on sent to my NVR, which will do auto comparison, filtering the black list and the white list, doing the alarm triggering, the query and exporting results, and remote configurations to the ANPR. Any questions here so far?
No, no question.
All right, proceeding. So here is when we have the camera connected to your VEZPro. This is for the licensed version. The same thing would happen. You would have a vehicle entering where the camera is going to recognize the vehicle, read the license plate, giving me the time of entry, the plate number, the country, and the type of vehicle, sending on this information. Now, not to the NVR, but rather to the software, and where the software is going to do the same things. It's going to do auto comparison, filtering blacklist, alarm triggering, query and export results of ANR, and remote configuration of the ANPR. Any questions here?
No, no question.
And here is the most common one. When we're using the IP camera, the NVR, and the VEZPro software. Here, we add one more step to it. We have the camera coming in and recognizing a vehicle, reading the license plate with the same information, with the time of entry, the license plate number, the country, and the vehicle type, managing this information through the NVR, where it does auto comparison, filtering, blacklist, so on and so forth, and also sending it onto a software that can be installed in multiple locations for better management. This situation is mostly installed where I have an example of a condominium. The condominium has a guard gate where these cameras are installed, and he has a software on the guard gate. However, the NVR is not at the guard gate. The NVR is at a safe place. So therefore, he cannot have the smart search and do all these comparisons from the NVR because the NVR is not at his location. So therefore, he will need to have the software installed there with a dedicated computer. And I like to make it very clear that it's to be a dedicated computer because we are managing video data. So if we have a computer that has more uses to it than just a security computer, video cards then come into play. Processing speed comes into play. If it's a dedicated computer, a regular simple computer should work fine. If you're going to be using this computer alongside any other softwares, then I recommend that you have a specific video card. Any questions so far?
No.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at what are our products. So today we offer a gamma of 2 products, which is a camera and an NVR that's compatible with that function. Our camera is called the VZ-IP2ML-PRB, and our NVR is the VZ-NVR3200-4HD. We have the version that is just 4HD, and we have the version that is 4HD-P. The difference of the two is that one does not have PoE ports, and the other one has 16 built-in PoE ports. This NVR supports up to 32 cameras. So that means that I can have up to 32 LPR cameras. Here is an overview of what the licensed software can do. So I have my VEZPro. It can also be my ANPR server where I can store all my data in my lists. I can have a mobile surveillance server, as what I talked to you about, having it in a guard gate. And I can have a video surveillance server, where most likely this would be in a security room. At the bottom, I have some few logos of what it constitutes inside the ANPR. Installation. Before installing, these are things that we must consider before implementing the cameras, the NVR. We need to have this very clear because this is going to depend on how we're going to install these cameras. So first of all, what to consider? Speed and vehicle direction. Speed and vehicle direction is very important. First of all, the direction of the vehicle, because you want to be able to place your camera perpendicular to the vehicle license plate so you can have a full read. And speed is important because the camera has a maximum reading speed of 120 kilometers per hour. Plate position. Plate position is very important because that's going to determine the viewing angle that the camera might have. Reflection and backlight. This will also difficult or make it easier for the camera to read the license plate. And weather conditions. The camera has a 95% accuracy in reading. However, if the weather conditions are very strong, rain, where with the naked eye we cannot see a license plate, the camera will also not be able to see the license plate. So installation 1 for our basic type 1. What is the basic requirements? This is for entrance and exit. When we first started the webinar, I spoke about 2 different scenarios, which is entrance and exit and road traffic monitoring. So here are the basic requirements for entrance and exit. The vehicle and the direction should go as straight as possible. Avoid making changes of directions. So this is very important that for an entrance or exit, the vehicle stays on a single lane, not floating from side to side in a zigzag motion, thus difficulting it for the camera to read. So it must go straight. The length of the reading distance should be around 4 meters. So you have to give enough space, at least 4 meters, at least 4 meters. It can go up to 10.5 meters. We'll talk about this in a little bit later on, but at least 4 meters of reading distance. The vertical angle. The vertical angle should be less than 30 degrees. If I have it at more than 30 degrees, I will be sacrificing or jeopardizing the quality of the reading number. Any questions here?
No.
Also continuing in our entrance and exit mode, we have our horizontal angle. We spoke about our vertical angle. It should be less than 30 degrees. Same thing for our horizontal angle. Less than 30 degrees. The angle of viewing of this point of the camera must be between 30 degrees of this trajectory, no more than 30. So we have two examples here. One of them is correctly placed, and one of them is wrongly placed. And we can clearly see the differences in angles. Installation for our type 2, which is road traffic monitoring. So we talk here about focal length versus speed. Our maximum speed is 120 kilometers per hour. Our installation height should be anywhere around 5 to 6 meters, giving us a 15 to 20 meters read. If we're going to have larger distances, then we're going to need specific lenses. Lenses that are 8 to 32, 11 to 40, or 7 to 33 millimeters. This camera constitutes of standard lenses 2.8 to 12 millimeters and should give us our first scenario of a 5 to 6 meter height, a 15 to 20 meter read. In feet, that's around 45 to 60 feet. Any questions here?
No, Bruno.
Installation, camera angle versus speed. The horizontal angle of view of the camera must be between 30 degrees of this trajectory. I do say that a lot, and I point out this number a lot throughout this webinar because I cannot express how important it is that we follow these angles, or else your camera is not going to work correctly. It must follow these installation guidelines. When we are using this camera and the vehicles traveling are going at a speed inferior to 60 kilometers per hour, one camera can cover 2 lanes, as we can see here in this picture right here. I have 2 vehicles. The camera is no more than 30 degrees for each vehicle, giving it the ability to read both vehicles at the same time if, again, they are traveling less than 60 kilometers per hour. However, if we're having a vehicle, traveling more than 60 kilometers per hour, we're going to need 1 camera per lane. So if we have vehicles with an average speed of 65 to 100 kilometers per hour, it's 1 camera per lane. If we have vehicles with speed of 0 to 60 kilometers per hour, 1 camera every 2 lanes. Installation errors. So here I point out 3 basic installation errors. The first one is the horizontal angle and the license plate with inclined angle. So my horizontal angle is off and my license plate has an inclined angle. That's a double mistake. Another one is license plate with just inclined angle. So I have the angle of the camera correct. My horizontal and vertical angle are correct. However, my license plate is with an inclined angle. I should go ahead and I should tilt that another 5 degrees. The third example is the mounting height is either too low or too high. In this example, I showed it as too low. We're not giving the minimum of 1.5 meters, which we're going to see in a little bit. Any questions so far?
No, Bruno.
All right, so how to install the camera. So here for camera install, the first part is lens selection. As I said, this camera comes with a standard 2.8 to 12 millimeter. Depending on the project, we'll be able to customize specific lens sizes for the customer. But in a general, it's 2.8 to 12 millimeters. It gives us a minimum reading distance of 2.5 meters and a maximum reading distance of 10.8 meters. 1.2, where to place the camera. First, set the installation height, then calculate the detection range, which is called L, with the following or simple equation. So the length of my reading is equal to the tangent times 30 times my height. I give you a little table that I made here. So this is already predetermined heights and reading lengths. So if we were to install it at 1.5 meters, we have a minimum reading length of 4 meters. At 2, also a 4. At 3, of 5 meters and 10 centimeters. At 3.5, of 6 meters. And a 4 meters height, 6 meters and 80 centimeters. Remember, if we install it at the maximum 6 meters, it will give us 10.8 meters. License plate inclination angles. The plates should be as horizontal as possible, and the recommended angle of inclination should be within a tolerance of more or less 5 degrees. Vehicles in the detection area should go as straight as possible. Avoid making changes. Again, it's very important that we set out specific lanes when it comes to the license plate recognition so that the vehicles will not swing from lane to lane, making the camera read it correctly. Any questions so far?
No questions.
All right, perfect. So here we go into the basic IP camera functions and how to set that out. So I have here some print screens from the web browser. So we make sure to go to the camera, go to menu, we go to road traffic, we go to detection configuration. There we can detect the detection area as well as the lanes it should be detecting. We also have the detection in an arming schedule for when it should be detecting, for when it should not be detecting, as well as editing picture. If we see here, we have where it says blacklist and whitelist. This is where we're going to fill in our database, what cars are in the blacklist and what cars are in the whitelist. The whitelist allows me to link it with my access control system. So anytime a car goes, for example, through an entrance-exit scenario, entering a condominium, a car is entering a condominium, his license plate is already in the database because he is a resident. Automatically, the camera is going to detect his license plate, send a signal to the access control system, which will open up the gate for him. If it is a visitor, it will scan the license plate, see that it's not on the whitelist, therefore it will not open the gate, and then the security guard will have to ask him for his information. Here we talk about our warranty as well as the countries that our camera is compatible with. So we have a list of countries here, and if your country is not within this list and you have a specific project, we can customize the project for you. We do have minimum quantities of cameras when it comes to that. Do we have any further questions?
No.
All right, so that will be all for our webinar. I ask you that you please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. My email is very simple, it's bmai@full-protection.com. My extension is 9108, and the company phone number is 305-885-6225. Please feel free to contact me if you have any further questions or if you have any projects regarding LPR. I'll be more than happy and glad to help you and find a solution for your needs. Thank you very much. I appreciate everyone for taking their time to listen to this webinar, and have a beautiful weekend. Thank you all.